So there's a bunch of ways we could do this. One thing we could do, and if you want to do it this way, you can, but I'm just going to not do it this way. We could just use the regular pencil tool, and if you have a tablet or something, you could just try to draw this manually like so. I'm doing it with a mouse. You can see it looks great. Okay. That's totally possible. I'm going to work on the outside strokes first. Instead, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go ahead and use these tools here. Okay. More specifically, I'm going to use the curve tool. Box obviously draws a box. This obviously draws a circle, line, so on and so forth. But line just creates a line. Polyline will create multiple lines. So basically, if I use line, I can click and drag and then enter, and then I have a line. But not super helpful. If I go to polyline, I can go like this, and then I'll just hit E, 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 right? Again, not super helpful. Arc will allow me to, oops, I did that wrong. Will allow me to draw a line and then pull, okay? And then I can do like E and do another one and pull. But you can see it just does one curve. So that, do that. But the arc will allow me to basically do two. So if I draw a line, I can go up, and it basically makes it possible to do an S curve. So I can do a little bit more complicated curves. And then from there, I would just extrude out my other ones. Okay. So we're going to be using that tool. So I'm going to select the arc tool. I'm going to use solid stroke, and I'm going to use the ink because I just want to get kind of solid lines on this. And that's what we're going to do. Okay, so let's go ahead just to make this a little bit easier so I can distinguish between these lines and our lines. I'm going to go to the stroke here, or sorry, the material. And right now it's just black. We can change the color afterwards. In fact, we will. I'm just going to go ahead and make it something that I can see. So let's make it like, let's say blue. And that way I could just see the lines. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit here. I'm just scrolling on my scroll wheel. I'm just going to draw this with my mouse because this is one area where it's not a huge deal. So you're going to click and drag to the next point. Okay, like this. Boom. Then I'm going to click and drag this up. We'll drag this one up, and it's going to take a little bit of finagling till you get kind of the rough shape. Okay, so now when I hit extrude, it's going to extrude from here. So I'm going to hit E for extrude, and it's going to give me another thing. I'm going to go to the point. I'm going to hit E to extrude, 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 and I'm just clicking E, click, 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 E. And then we'll go, let's say, to here. All right. I just did all the straights. Now I'm going to go through and just make the adjustments like I did on the first one. If you want to do it while you're going, you can as well. But I'm just going to go through and try to make these a little bit better. I'm going to hit F and click and drag, or not click and drag, just hit F and then just move your mouse left and right. And I'm just going to make this a little bit thinner so I can see the lines a little bit better because I couldn't quite see them. Okay. We'll go like this. I should have done that ahead of time. You could also just go up here to size, but F's a little bit easier. We'll go off this way. And I'm just going to basically, this guy's too far over. Um, I'm just going to more or less just try to match these up. Okay. I'm going to pause the video, so I'll just finish this. So I finished that line. I did all those elements. I'm just holding Shift and middle mouse button clicking to pan around. You can also do it over here. I'm just going to go ahead and enter, and that will execute. Okay, so now that line is done. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and draw the other lines, just using the exact same process. Now with this one, you can see these never get more complicated than C's, so it might just be easier to actually just use the arc. So I'm just going to click and drag, and then I'll hit E and click and E and click and E and click and E and click and E and click. Sounds like we're working out. And now I can just grab one line because I don't really need to, I'm just using my scroll wheel to zoom in. I don't really need to do anything really beyond that. So these can all just be kind of just, pulled like that. Once I'm happy, I'm just going to enter. That one's done. Okay. I'm just going to go ahead and, well, actually, no, I'll do these ones in front of you too, just for funsies. So I'm going to switch back to arc because this is more of an S curve. Now you can see there's multiple lines. I'm just going to have to do multiple ones. So I'm going to click and drag to this one, and I'm just going to pull this kind of up. This one's got to go down. This one's going to have to go quite a bit more, like pull this up more than it needs because this is going to come down. And it's just going to be kind of the best that you can. We're not going to be able to make it perfect. If we want to make it perfect, we'd want to just use the pen tool. But I want to use the unique tools here because I think it's going to be beneficial for you. Good. Then we'll hit enter. Now I'm just going to go ahead and do this one. And I'm just going to click here and drag up to here and just kind of pull this like that. Looks good. Enter. I'm going to, I guess these all kind of are connected. So let's go. Mine arc already? Yep. Okay. Actually, yeah, we'll start with here. So I'm going to click and drag here. I'm going to hit uh, E and see, I don't know if this is a long, let's go to here and then I'll do E up to, let's say here. And that'll give me a little bit more sway. So I can maybe make this a little bit more accurate. I'm just going to try and get in the middle ground of most of it. And then these obviously got to get pulled out this way. So too much. And maybe these just a little bit. Pull this down a little bit more. Like that. All right, so that looks good. And then we need to do the beak here. Let's go ahead and do that. So I'll just start up here. I'm going to click and I'm going to drag all the way to the bottom of the beak here. And I'm just going to do this as I go, so that way I can see it a little bit better, like this. And this is one of those ones where maybe it would make sense to go straight and then like break it into two just because it is such a long thing. It's going to be a little bit difficult to get it perfect. We'll just call that good enough. Now this needs to go up into here. So I'm just going to hit E and we'll go to there. And I'm just going to go like this. And then we'll go like that. That looks fine. I'm going to hit enter. Then we'll do this one here. So I'm just going to click from here, click, and we'll drag. And I guess it goes all the way up to here. So let's see. Go like that. It's got to go this way. This is going to get stretched a lot. So like that. So it's going to be kind of hard to do. I'm gonna get it close and we'll fix this up afterwards. You'll see. Um, then we'll hit enter and I'm going to, I guess, go here. Let's say here and then E to there. And then what I'm going to do is pull these out this way. And then I'm going to get in closer here. And then we're going to do is just bring this up back into itself so that we can kind of get the rough shape. Something like that. No potential. Okay. And then I believe, let me see, I think we have all of our black lines. Great. Okay. So we have now at this point basically outlined everything just with using this curve tool.